Things got crazy at a Keith Urban concert in Massachusetts. In fact, more than 20 people were hospitalized for drinking too much. But one of the worst parts of this story includes a teenage girl, a 17-year-old who is unidentified, who was allegedly raped by an 18-year-old. Now, it wasn't a situation that happened in private. It actually happened in public in front of everyone. And there were multiple witnesses to the event. Although only one person attempted to stop it, a number of them were actually filming it with their cell phones. And the reason why they said that they were doing that is because they wanted to provide police officers evidence of the alleged rape. Now, the suspect in this case is an 18-year-old by the name of Sean Murphy. His lawyer says that this was 100% consensual. There were witnesses that saw the two kissing at the concession stand, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the sex act that happened afterwards was consensual. Now, the reason why it ended was because there was a woman who saw it, and she was very, very concerned. So she went up to them and asked the girl, is this consensual? And that was when the 17-year-old girl allegedly said no. The 18-year-old got off of her and ran away, and the 17-year-old ran away as well. Now, authorities were able to catch up with Sean Murphy later, and he has been arrested, and he was released on $10,000 bond.
Well, it's a pretty significant piece of evidence that in the middle, when she was asked if it was consensual, the girl said no, right? And then the kid runs away. So it might have been that she was embarrassed, but look, that's for the courts to decide, right? Obviously, the concert was totally out of control. I don't know to what degree, you know, the people who put on the concert get blamed from that. Keith Urban doesn't handle security. I don't think it's his fault, right? The people who managed it, I guess it was poorly managed. But Anna was talking about this story before we came on air and made a good point about different concerts and the different perceptions that people have about them, right? Like electric dance.
Yes. So if you go to an electronic dance music festival, right? Oftentimes you'll hear a lot of fear-mongering in the media about how, oh, look at all these teenagers, they're doing drugs, they're doing ecstasy, and they're all dying as a result of it. I mean, you see a lot of that. And by the way, there certainly is a significant amount of drug use at these concerts. There's a significant amount of substance abuse at all concerts. You always witness it, right? But I find it curious that when it comes to a Keith Urban concert, you might read a few articles about a teen that got raped. But when it comes to something like an EDM concert or a hip-hop concert, if anything happens like that, if someone is raped or if someone dies as a result of substance abuse, it's all over the news. You can't stop hearing about it.
And it's not just that it's big news, it's that assumptions then are laid upon it, right? And, you know, the Fox News of the world come in and they go, you know, because Bill O'Reilly is a huge expert, according to him, on ghetto culture. Right, and then he'll start saying, oh, this is what happens with the hip hop. There's too much violence. There's too much misogyny against women, and there's too much drugs, abuse, etc. 20 people were hospitalized because of drinking problems here. 50 had to be taken away in protective custody. 46 medicals, including 22 transports to the hospital. Mostly alcohol related.
Yes, and let's also talk about that. The ridiculous double standard that we have when it comes to substance abuse. Just because it's alcohol and just because it's legalized, people can get totally shit-faced and it's not considered questionable, right? But if you go to any other concert and people are smoking marijuana, or let's say you go to an EDM concert and people or festival and people are doing MDMA, in that case, it's like, oh my God, it's like almost as if it's a violent crime when they do it.
If 20 people got hospitalized at one of those music festivals,
which they do, by the way.
Okay.
Many people do.
And that's why we see it in the news. Like, oh, the epidemic of MDMA at electric dance festivals. Oh, watch out. Your kids, what about the children? What about children? Until this story, I literally never read a story, and we read stories for a living, about, hey, watch out for country concerts because people are constantly drinking themselves into oblivion. And sometimes violence breaks out. No, country music, that's good. Wholesome American music.
Right. It's amazing.